Deal. We live real quick. It is Wednesday, man. So thank y'all for checking me out. Of course, it is your boy, the Hood Howard Stern, Q Lewis, holding it down from 6 Mile to the Mile High. Of course, we back in this thing, man, for a little Wednesday pop-up show. Every Wednesday, just like I mentioned last week, what we wanted to start doing on Wednesdays was actually going through the timeline, picking out some topics, or actually picking out some stats that I like. So we usually pick out a stat, and then we talk about it during this little 10 to 15 minutes. And then the person that I picked the stat, I give a shout out. That was the premise for Wednesdays, of course, and today is Wednesday. However, I felt like today maybe we better talk about something that's going on in the news. So we go real quick, man. We'll get back next Wednesday to picking somebody's stat and then giving them a shout out and talking about their stat, live on the air. Today, though, man, we gotta talk about what popped off yesterday in New York. I mean, obviously, I know you've probably seen a whole lot of stuff at this point. As far as I guess we're calling it a terrorist attack at this point. So, I mean, real quick, if you're not familiar, basically what happened is a dude in a truck, right? I think he's 29 years old. All right, so he drove a truck down the bike lane and killed, I believe it was 8 people. 13 people got hurt, so they got injured or whatever. Now, I guess they calling this some type of terrorist attack now because obviously I guess they found a letter in the truck about some kind of ties to ISIS. What up, though, Melissa? Melissa just checking in. Today we're talking about the terrorist attack yesterday, and on CNN, I believe it was. I mean, they called it the worst terrorist attack since 9/11. That's a big stretch. I mean, obviously you're talking about some twin towers getting took down by some airplanes. I think this is a pale comparison, but I mean, it just kind of puts you into the frame of mind of what's going on right now. It's a hotbed political season, and terrorist attacks and anything that inflames anger or fear amongst Americans, I think is going to be something popular. I mean, obviously this kind of took away from what's going on with the feds and everything, and the Trump administration. Not to take away from the lives that were lost or the people who were injured yesterday in New York, but it's always, the timing is always strange to me. I'm not sure if this has some kind of, I'm not sure if this is some kind of overlay for the underlay. And of course, I always say that. I mean, and that just comes from being black in America. I guess there's a lot of skepticism about what's really going on and what's being reported in the media. Again, man, the people in New York who lost their lives, people who are injured, definitely prayers out to those families and the people involved. But it's a strange thing, and I don't want to become conspiracy theorist, but I mean, it's getting out of control. I mean, especially the timing of it was just uncanny, though. Like with this stuff about George Papadopoulos coming out, one of the Trump aides, or someone who I guess they're saying volunteered to be on his campaign or whatever. So they're trying to cut ties with him. Possibly he's the fall guy for everything that's going on. But all of that's popping off right now, and then this happens. So let me take a look here. So Melissa said, I'm still wondering how he only got shot twice and made it to the hospital. Yeah, the stories is, I don't know. It's a tough thing to say because all of the stories not really adding up. And of course, it'll be great for them to be able to blame this on ISIS and make it some type of terrorist attack. And to be honest with you, I probably am a conspiracy theorist, but I've been watching this old documentary from 2012, I believe it was, from Oliver Stone. It's called the Untold Story of the United States, something like that, I believe it is. Check it out. It's on Netflix, all right, from 2012, and it's just going through all the wars and the tragedies and the conflicts between America and other places, and just how strategic and political everything is. Everything is tied to politics. You would be amazed to see how many actions are taken in America in consideration to other places. This really is world politics. You really think something's going on in America, something's going on in your state, something's going on in your city, and really it's tied to so many things. It's crazy. I really just don't understand. again, like I said, I'm talking about this just because it's Wednesday morning. I usually have a pop-up on Wednesday, and I want to thank y'all for checking me out real quick. But I'm curious though, because it's always something. And again, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but when you're taking a look at the things that's happening and the timing, it's just kind of uncanny. Let me see. Melissa said our people get riddled with bullets, and he made it to the hospital. Yeah, that's the truth. Like I say, a lot of this can be like I don't want to make any like loose accusations, but a lot of this can really be political. A lot of this can really be contributed to the things that the government put in place to keep us in control. And I know it's probably not a popular belief one, and it's probably people think the anti-government, which I kind of am, because it's just like she said, it's throughout history it's been that same thing. And I'm telling you, watch that documentary though. All right, it's Oliver Stone, Untold Story of the United States, and it's just crazy how many things were basically because of some type of political, some kind of political agenda. And as far as I want to get back to this though, as far as the what they're calling terrorist attack, I still just think the timing is incredible. Like, because somehow we're going to forget about all these indictments coming for these campaign, I guess they're called volunteers, or some of these people who kind of are able, if things turn out right, to basically get President Trump impeached, because there's a lot of shit in the game. Basically, I can't really put it no other way. There's a lot of shit in the game. And the funny thing is that we keep having these conversations about him and Putin and Russia, but the thing is, America has had a relationship with Russia like the whole time, like my whole life, probably my parents' whole life, and probably my grandparents' whole life. And it's weird, it's like you just look at all these things through history where we are the ones who are basically aiding people who we deem as terrorists, and then I guess when they get out of pocket or we feel like we don't need them no more, then we come up with these schemes to make them public enemy number one. And of course, as a black man in America, I know exactly what that's like. And again, I made this stat yesterday, and I think a lot of people may have shied away from it, but I mean the reality of it is that I don't even know what to say really, because I know what it feels like to. I mean, I live here and I love my country, but at the same time, I know that there are some very particular things wrong with the country. And as I mentioned yesterday in my stat, I was like, why do black people always get asked to go back to Africa when we have a problem with America? But the reality of it is that there are some serious concerns with America and the things that are going on in America. And if you don't realize that, I mean, I don't know where you've been all this time, because there's a lot of things going on that makes it makes absolutely no sense. But at the same time, they're still happening, and they are politically inclined. And yesterday, I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but like they're trying to piece the details together. So apparently they found, like I say, a letter connecting the dude to ISIS. Now they're trying to put together the timeline, saying he planned everything. This is a tough one, and I want to believe it, because obviously when people lose their lives or people get injured or things like this happen, you want answers and you want to basically have someone to blame. This is one of those things though where sometimes the person that's being blamed is presented to us, so we don't have to put no thought into it. And I think that's what happens with government a lot, is that they give us the framework to work within, and then as like lemmings, we just supposed to follow it, to the end of the earth and fall off, you know what I'm saying, to the end of the cliff. But I don't know. I wanna figure out, what's going on. I know there's some people out here watching right now who probably, watching me right now, or probably, follow me a little bit and know that some of the stuff I say, you might even think that I'm radical, so that's a little scary. But the thing is though, is that these things happen and they deserve to be questioned. Like I know that we're trying to find, we're trying to find the perpetrator. You're trying to find someone to blame, someone to be an enemy. But what you got to realize is that that's what America was built on. Like even when we didn't have enemies, we created them. Just like when they went to the Gulf War, to the Persian Gulf War. It's like, we looking for weapons of mass destruction when they knew that it wasn't none. Like we create the opposition. And the crazy thing about it is that they expect to give us that narrative and we not question it. And then when you do question it, you become radical. And that's the scary thing about America. So I can say that because I live here and I love my country, but I hate some of the shit it do. And it should be okay for me to say that. It should be okay for me to say, you know what, I love this place, but some of this shit you gotta get together. It's just like a relationship, right? So in a relationship, with your man or your woman or whatever, and the relationship's cool, but it's some shit that need working out. And that's what's happening with America. So because of that relationship, it's hard for me to just take everything verbatim. It's hard for me to take everything at face value. I mean, they came out yesterday before they even found any letter or any connection to ISIS. They were already calling them basically the terrorists. And I think that's the problem. Like the government and the media are leading. They are leading the narrative. And a lot of people just don't really understand how important the narrative is, because the narrative can be completely different from what actually happened. But still, it's the narrative, so people follow along with it. Let me see. Melissa said, let me see what she said. We built America and they stole it from the Indians and Mexicans. They want us to leave. Right. She also said on the news, it said a school bus stopped him, and then later they said the police stopped him and shot him. Hooray to the school bus driver who stopped any further damage. Yeah, so like I say, I'm not even sure what happened, because I thought the police stopped him, but now they're saying that he ran into a bus. I guess the bus basically cut him off to try to salvage what was going on. There's so many stories coming out. I don't know what to believe, what's true, and I think that's okay though. And that's where we come into the problem though. Like you in a democracy, so to speak, I guess supposedly. And what's going on here is that when you raise questions or when you go against the narrative, then there's an issue, and that definitely shouldn't be the case. I don't know how that's the case, because if you're going to have a democratic policy or something that obviously the people are supposed to be, the leaders of their own future. How is it that we can't say nothing about anything, and the narrative is just force-fed to us? You know what I'm saying? Let me see. She said, too much work to do in our lifetime. It's really up to the youth. And I believe that. I believe that to a certain degree as well. But somebody got to get the ball rolling. And at this point, I'm not really sure how to effectively question the government without being placed into that enemy zone. I mean, this is obviously what happened with the Black Panthers. This is obviously what just happened with the Black Lives Matters movement. Things like whenever you try to question or go against what the narrative is supposed to be, it presents some kind of problem. And then, of course, America is, I hate to say it because, again, this is my country and I love my country, but we some bullies, man. And when it comes down to it, we really do enforce our will on anyone, including the people who live here. So, and that's the scary thing about it. But if you're checking us out right now on Facebook Live, hit me in the comment box. Let me know what you think about yesterday and it's being called a terrorist attack. And then they, like I said, I think the way they're inflating it though, like it's the headlines are saying the worst terrorist attack since 9/11. To put that in the same category is as I think is what do you call it? Is creating fear. And I think that's what they're like kind of doing it on purpose. I know fear constricts people. Fear makes you not want to act, in the manner that you would normally act. So I think this is obviously a ploy, again, not to take away from the lives that were lost or the people who were injured, or even some of the I guess supposedly fantastic police work that's going on, and hopefully some type of good investigation to give us real precise answers. Because what I don't want to happen is that this goes down. They feed us a narrative about it being some type of terrorist attack, and then we never hear about it again. Because the thing is that you got these terrorist cells, I guess you would call them, who were basically at some point on American payroll. Like I don't know how many people want to deny that, but the truth of it, is what it is. Let me see. Shout out to Rita. It looks like McElhenney. I don't know if I said that correctly, Rita. But thanks for checking in. And she said, ISIS is here. We have to unite. And see that, and we definitely do have to unite. But I just don't want to be under the false impression that we have to take the enemy as who is presented to us. Because again, the government tells us who we should be angry at. The government and the media tells us who's behind everything, and then we don't actually question it. So then we just kind of go out against it. And I agree, something's going on, and we do need to unite and come together. But the crazy thing is that we put somebody in the office that's not going to allow any unity. Like, this is probably the most divisive that I've ever seen. Even though I thought the Obama administration was divisive, but this is completely, like, this is out the door. So I'm not even certain what's going on here. But just still looking at those things, the current administration, everything that's going on, with the feds and everything that's going on with those investigations, I just think like the timing is uncanny for what happened yesterday. Let me see. Rita also checked back in. She said, "Fear of each other, not of the real bad guys." That's the truth too. I agree with that, Rita. I give you 100% on that. That's definitely the case. Because I mean, at this point, we're it's some people, and I'm not afraid to say it. Of course, it's some people who are probably more intimidated by me, for example, just a black male, than it is for people who are truly capable of doing terrorism. And I know what that's like. I definitely know what that's like. So I know that once you are pegged the enemy, it's something that you kind of carry. It's something you kind of carry with you. Again, as a black man in America, I know what that feels like. But I just don't want to be caught in a situation where we're being force-fed the narrative. And trust me, like I said, I just want you, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I just want you to check out on Netflix. All right, it is a documentary by Oliver Stone, some old shit, 2012. All right, and it's called the Untold Story of the United States. Just check it out. It will probably turn you into a conspiracy theorist, but I think that's okay. It's all right to question the government. But hey, look, we ain't gonna keep y'all too long, man. If you got some more comments, man, make sure you hit me in the comment box. Also, don't forget, we are gonna be live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and the whole crew, E-Block Radio, right here live on Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then me and Coco J will be back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday night. So make sure you check us out there. Make sure you do like our Straight from the E-Block Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like hearing the shit that I be talking about. Because sometimes I talk about good shit. Alright, we're going to read a couple more and then I'm going to get up out of here because it's an early hump day. And I know y'all got to go do whatever it is that you do on Wednesdays. Alright, so Melissa checked back in. She says they're inciting fear in folks when they only after white people for all the wrongdoings of the political past. And it's funny that you mentioned that, which is fun. It's funny but not funny. And it just reminds me of the stories like, my old man, my uncles, even my grandfather about World War II. But it's just the things that they were telling me about, especially in Vietnam. Like a lot of people who are in Vietnam admit that they had been confronted by, I guess, the enemy, quote unquote, the enemy, and were let go because like some of the Vietnamese soldiers was like, we not here for you. Basically, so they're just letting black people go, like, hey, get out of here, and they called us niggas too. In case y'all didn't know, black people over there in the war in Vietnam was getting called niggas by Vietnamese, but they was letting them go, and it's funny, that even happens. And let me see, Rita checked back in. She said the real bad guys don't care if you are black or white. That's true. Now, I mean that's true to an extent. However, just thinking about those stories that they were telling me about, wars overseas, is that a lot of times they are, unfortunately, kind of basing their perception of America off of basically white men. I won't even say white people in general, but this is the perception rather from places outside of America, because those are the people that I would say unfortunately represent us as a whole. And it's unfortunate because, again, America has been some bullies for a long time. And like I said, I love the country where I'm at. I love where I don't want to go back to Africa. I mentioned that yesterday. But it is true. If enough black people complain about America, somebody will tell us to go back to Africa. And that's definitely not something we should be doing, is fighting amongst each other. So that's some real shit right there. Shout out to my man Monk Money, just checking in, dog. Of course, me, Monk Money, Angry Man, Gigabytes, Kodak Lee, the whole crew will be in effect tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you check us out right here on Facebook Live. And then me and Coco J will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. Make sure that you like our Straight from the E Block page and subscribe, so every time we go live, you get a notification and you can check us out. I want to thank everybody who checked me out this morning for Hump Day Wednesdays. Next week, man, as long as it don't be another terrorist attack, we gonna get back to what we normally do on Wednesdays. And just in case you just now checking us out right now, what we normally do on Wednesday is I go through my timeline, find someone's stat that I like, and then we'll give that person a shout out, and then we'll discuss their stat live online. So make sure that you post something fly on Wednesday, and I might just pick yours next week. All right, so that this could be you live on E Block Radio, getting a shout out and all that good stuff. Don't forget to check us out again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until the next time, you know exactly what it is. The Livest Cloud Radio Show on the planet, straight from the E Block Radio, live on your dial. It's your boy, the Hood Howard Stern, Q Lewis, holding down from 6 Mile to the Mile High. Peace out, y'all.